Welcome back to another episode of the Psychopedia podcast. I'm your co-host, Hank Sinatra, here with my compact co-host.
Investigators later.
Sick word.
It's perfect.
I Googled synonyms for small, and I knew that was the one right away.
I love it.
There's so many synonyms for small, by the way.
Minuscule. I'm glad you didn't go with that one.
Yeah, that would have
That has like an innuendo there.
pejorative.
Meaningless,
Yeah.
right? Tiny. I'm fine with tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Pocket-sized. Pocket person. I get a lot.
Yeah.
Mighty Mouse. I've been called.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
So I'm small but mighty.
yes.
Yes.
Super mighty.
So compact, I'm saying, is one of the better ones.
Compact is great.
Yeah.
Compact is petite, with petite being a little bit too zhuzhy.
I don't get zhuzh when I hear petite, but
Petite. I don't know what I was going to say after that. Yeah. Bye. I'm here with my brain dead co-host.
exactly.
Well, let me tell you something.
Yes.
I am excited to do today's case. You know why?
Why?
Because you're excited.
I'm so excited.
You're very excited.
I think our listeners will be excited as well, / viewers, if you're on YouTube watching us.
You've been talking it up.
Well, I also have to say I've been absolutely steeped in this case because we decided last minute that the case I'm originally had planned to record, we're pushing off to record with a special guest.
Yeah.
So I had 2 days to turn around a case. And you know how much I research.
I know.
So I've been
Crazy.
reading, I've been watching, I've been listening.
And you at home, give her a round of applause. I'm not kidding. Give her a round of
I
applause.
thought you wanted to re-record and you were clapping for the camera. I was like,
No.
what did I do?
No, I forget. Like, Gilgo was the big,
Yes.
like, turnaround, fast,
Mhm.
in depth, 2-parter.
Went outside,
was-
touched grass to
Literally.
bring myself back to this planet. Yeah.
That was crazy.
This was pretty intense. Like I said that to you when we decided on Friday
Yeah.
that we were going to use the case I had for a
Yeah.
different time. I was like, well, there goes my weekend. No sleep, no family time. Happy to do it. Love doing it. Love Psychopedia.
Nailed it.
I hope so. Let's see.
I'm sure you did. If history is any indicator. Well, if you are here for the first time, welcome to the podcast. If you are here for the 100th time, welcome home.
Freak.
If you've been listening to us and you love us and you haven't yet, we would urge you, for us, it only really helps us, but you could do it. I can't do it for you. Subscribe to the podcast, rate it, review it, share it with people. If you know somebody out there who's in your sphere of influence who likes true crime, maybe say, hey, have you listened to Psychopedia yet? It's so good. Let's say it like that, because otherwise you got to sell it, you know? You got to sell it. Sales is just a transference of energy, which is why I think we get people so riled up, because the energy in here is just...
Genuinely high.
Yeah, it's high. If you came in here without our same energy and touched the air, you'd get a shock. I don't know where the hell I was going with that. And if you've been listening to us for so long that you're done with all the podcasts, well, boy, do I got news for you. Do you want to tell them where to go?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh God, this is my moment.
Yeah.
You can go to Psychopedia. Nope.
Wow.
I knew I was
I
going
wasn't ready for all these tough questions.
I was going to blow it. I just knew it. Patreon.com/psychopediapod.
Yes, that's right. For more content than we even do here. So if you've run out of content on Apple, Spot, wherever you listen, we got a whole bunch of content over there.
I actually just said that to you, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this week Tankopedia goes out, Slaterpedia goes out. I knew we were doing this case, which is either going to be a very long one or a 2-parter.
Yeah.
I haven't even decided yet. We'll see how the delivery goes.
I'm just hearing about this now. by the way.
And I said to Tank, I didn't want to freak you out and tell you it was going to be like, a long one, but it is. And I said to you in that text exchange, I'm like, man, we are content machines.
Yeah, well, you are.
Oh, well, you are too. Come on, we're a partnership.
You are the backbone of this family. Let's be honest.
No, I'm just a different vertebra in the backbone
Okay,
than you.
I'll take that. Probably a little herniated, but but in any event, we are really glad to have you guys here. And speaking of Patreon, I want to read off a couple of Patreon names. Do not skip. You're not going to want to skip this one. By the way, shout out to Shakespeare. I saw a post the other day that this might become your favorite post of all time.
Oh, yes.
Somebody writes, I hate when people say yuck my yum. It
Ooh.
really icks my ooh.
I love it. Because I say yuck your yum.
I know.
I know. I might say ick your ooh.
We don't want to ick anybody's ooh.
I like that.
Really icks my ew. Hello, future Patreon.
I was just about to say that.
We have oodles of iTunes noodles. Interesting choice. Don't know what it's in reference to. Do you?
With ketchup. You should add with ketchup at the end of that.
Probably the character restrictions were there. So many penis painting prodigies.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to every single one of you for having the courage to make that your display name. Psychopedia Brown.
Okay.
Don't know what it means. Makes me feel like I'm 8 years old again, though, for some reason. Like I have loafers on. Shauna O'Shea. I just like the alliteration.
Shauna.
Maggie Harrington.
Hey,
A
Mags.
solid name. Andrea Mangione.
Oh.
Say hello to your cousin Luigi for me.
Ooh, what's up, Dre?
Yeah. Rank titties.
Okay.
Don't know what it means. And I really don't know what this one means, but I would like to know, and maybe you'll know, and you'll be able to educate me. Sweaty for John Douglas.
Oh, hell yeah, I know what that is.
What does that mean?
I was so excited talking about a John Douglas FBI profile that he did that I started to sweat.
Oh,
and under my
God.
breath, like mad props to this person, under my breath, I go, John Douglas makes me sweat.
Wow.
Very good.
By the way, there are so many new Patreons. I had to pick. That was a few more than normal. And we'd like to say to you, be the first to say to you, probably because it's a little early, Happy Valentine's Day
Happy
from us.
Valentine's Day. We love you.
Yeah. Y'all, all y'alls are Valentines.
So creepy.
I want a Valentine's to all y'all.
You're such a mess.
All right. So without any further ado,
Okay.
let's get into this week's long-ass case.
Plato's Symposium is a timeless philosophical work written around 385 to 370 BCE that delves into the nature and meaning of love, especially in its most profound and idealized forms. Set during a banquet or symposium among prominent Athenian men, the dialogue unfolds as a series of speeches, each offering a unique perspective on eros, the god and concept of love.
Plato's, what is it called?
Symposium.
Plato's Symposium, okay.
Collectively, these speeches form a compelling mosaic of ideas that culminates in a broader discussion of love's role in human existence and its profound connection to beauty, virtue, and the divine.
Okay.
One of the most memorable contributions to Plato's Symposium comes from Aristophanes, who shares a mythological account of humanity's origins. He describes how humans were once whole beings, each with 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 faces.
They were spiders?
Fearing their power, Zeus split them into 2 separate halves, condemning them to wander the world in search of their missing counterpart. One of the text's most poignant quotes in Aristophanes' speech says, quote, "Love is born into every human being. It calls back the halves of our original nature together," a statement that captures the intense, transformative power of love, a force that seeks to reunite what was once divided, offering a sense of wholeness and connection that transcends the physical and touches the eternal.
Damn, Aristophanes.
Yeah, pretty
That
heavy.
motherfucker was spitting.
Pretty heavy shit. Over the centuries, the concept of 2 souls deeply connected by destiny has been known by many names, including twin flames.
Oh. Eureka. I've always wanted to say that and mean it.
This term has evolved over time to encompass the idea of 2 people who are equals, whose purpose is to challenge and inspire each other in their journeys of self-discovery and growth. Unlike romantic partnerships that may form by choice, the connection to a twin flame is seen as predestined, beyond human control, much like the concept of soulmates. It represents not just a meeting of hearts, but a union of spirits, pushing each toward greater understanding and fulfillment. Sounds idyllic, right?
How lucky are we to have found our twin flames?
Very. The idea of finding someone who completes you, who is destined to challenge, inspire, and guide you towards your highest self, who wouldn't want that kind of connection? But here's the question.
Yes.
Just how far would you go to find your twin flame? Would you uproot your life, sacrifice all other relationships, alter your physical body and health, join a cult, For some, the promise of this ultimate connection has become an obsession, a guiding force that overshadows logic and reason. It's a vulnerability that certain groups and leaders have learned to prey upon for financial gain and ultimate power.
Yeah.
These leaders offer seekers a roadmap to this divine union in exchange for unwavering loyalty and unquestioning obedience. And money. What starts as a quest for love and enlightenment for many has spiraled into manipulation, exploitation, and control. This is the story of one such high control group, a cult called the Twin Flames Universe, whose leaders have turned many people's search for romantic light into oppressive darkness.
I don't even care that it's long now. I don't know anything about this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what it is.
I saw the documentary pop up so many times, but I try not to watch those out of respect for you and the hard work you do.
Is that right? Because you think I might pick it and cover it?
Well, yeah, I want you to be the harbinger of any true crime stories I know.
That is incredible. I hereby refuse to listen to any hip hop unless it has filtered through you. So you can be the harbinger of music for me.
Then we're going to have to get together and do some work because
I'm a little bit behind.
No, I'm on something else and I need to.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Big pun.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. All right, cool. Okay, so listen, before we dive in, let me make it clear that everything I'm sharing today is alleged. I do not possess firsthand knowledge of these events, and all of the information comes from publicly available sources like online articles, documentaries, books, and other reports. Any insights or reactions I offer are strictly my opinion, based on my own interpretation and assessment of the information, and should not be taken as definitive fact.
So listen to me, listener. If you didn't hear that,
that's on you.
That's on you. That is on you. Everything is alleged.
Correct.
Everything.
So I may not say allegedly every time I share information.
Well, you can. You'll wind up sounding like the red-haired kid who's like, apparently.
I have no idea what that is, but I get the point.
Every 3 words he said apparently in an interview one time, he went mega viral.
Okay.
So cute.
Oh, so yeah, I'm not going to say allegedly every second just because I can't do that to the experience, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll botch it.
Yeah.
But everything is alleged. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's begin with an overview of what's known as the Twin Flames Universe.
Let's do it.
The Twin Flames Universe is an online community and organization / definite cult founded in 2017 by Jeff and Shalia Ayan, aka Jeff and Shalia Divine, a married couple who promises to guide individuals toward discovering and then uniting with their twin flame. Claiming to have unlocked the secrets of eternal love and divine connection, Jeff and Shalia offer a series of coaching sessions and exercises designed to magnetically draw these predestined people into their followers' lives. Operating out of their home in Michigan, where they moved a few years after their own relationship began in 2012, Jeff and Shalia have built a digital empire around their teachings and, in my opinion, around exploiting, manipulating, and robbing vulnerable, perhaps lonely people just looking for love. In the teachings of Twin Flames Universe, or TFU, every twin flame relationship is said to consist of 2 complementary energies, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. These distinct roles are defined by very distinct traits. The divine masculine is portrayed as logical, analytical, goal-oriented, stoic, courageous, and sexually honest, whereas the divine feminine is intuitive, nurturing, pleasure-seeking, creative, and sensually liberated. Essentially, the feminine is about being, while the masculine is about doing. And the overall purpose of these roles combined, as TFU claims, is to heal and elevate the individuals involved, pushing their souls toward higher dimensions of spiritual enlightenment. Additionally, the divine feminine was created to serve the divine masculine, which Jeff constantly and sickeningly demonstrates by constantly interrupting and insulting Shalia on their very public online forum.
Oh, really?
Men in Twin Flames universe are reportedly told they are entitled to have sex with their twin flame every single day, adding the classic cult-like element of sexual control that has been a hallmark of so many high control groups throughout history. The Branch Davidians, right? David Koresh claimed that exclusive sexual access to female followers was a thing, and he even forbade married couples from being intimate. Like, he controlled sex.
Why?
Nexium, because he's a manipulative.
Wait, there was no reason for it? It was just like a weird.
I mean, it's a whole.
Yeah.
It's part of his.
The reason he gave, I mean.
Yeah, he's got his reasons.
Yeah.
Nexium.
He wants to bang everybody.
Exact. Well, that too. And
Yeah.
also, when you deprive people of what they want and need, and then you grant it to them,
Yeah.
you are now the giver and the taker. You are God.
Yeah.
Nexium within the secret DOS subgroup, which I know if you don't know, these cults may sound, foreign, but if you do know, you'll know what I'm talking about. Within the DOS subgroup, women are coerced or were coerced into sexual relationships under the guise of spiritual growth and empowerment. And the Children of God, aka the Family International, leaders promoted flirty fishing. That was like actually their phrase, where members were expected to use sex as a form of recruitment and control. My point in raising these other cults is to show why, in my opinion, Twin Flames universe is indeed a cult. It's just one sort of strategy in their process.
What is a DOS subgroup?
So it was a exclusive subgroup in the Nexium cult where women were invited basically to join, and then they were physically branded with like a hot branding tool with like a symbol that really was just Keith Raniere's initials in like a weird way. They were always like doing ceremonies completely nude, and then they would take pictures of these women and sort of use it against them. Like, if you ever release any information about Nexium, we have these pictures. It's I am glossing over it.
Yeah.
So please know that I understand that is like a cursory summary. Anyway, getting back to Twin Flames, while the roles of the divine feminine and divine masculine often align with biological gender, TFU teaches that this is not always the case. According to their doctrine, the divine masculine and divine feminine energies are intrinsic to the soul and therefore transcend physical characteristics or gender identity. So, someone assigned female at birth might embody divine masculine energy or vice versa. If a person's biological gender does not align with their assigned divine energy and they feel uncomfortable with this designation, too bad, because Jeff and Shalia determine each member's energy for them. Like it or not.
Wow.
Yep. They dictate whether someone is divine masculine or feminine and decide who their twin flame is, who they are destined to be with, both romantically, sexually, spiritually, regardless of personal boundaries, preferences, or even consent. This forced alignment presented as spiritual authority is coercive, manipulative, and erodes individual autonomy and identity. We're definitely diving into this. So I see you have questions on your face.
Yeah. Well, quick question. So people are coming to this cult single?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And they're lonely by and large. And that is a pervasive issue, right? Like, there is what is known as the epidemic of loneliness right now in this state of ours, state of affairs.
I can't stand when people use something human against humans. Like, there's a lot of people out there. I mean, this is an epidemic. People who are basically just taking advantage of people who are down and out financially, and they're promising them all this money. And that has been going on forever. It's nothing new, but it does seem to be more right now. All you need is a camera and 5 people to stand around you listening for a video, and all of a sudden you're an expert. No, dude. I don't know how people don't see right through it, but I also do.
I do. From an outsider's point of view, certainly looking in, you're like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. How are you? But
I've also come across it and discarded it in my lifetime.
It's a frog in a boiling pot of water. It's a slow burn. It happens really slowly. So you're sucked in, you're drawn in with like the promise of what you're seeking. And at first, it's a very welcoming environment. Everybody wants the same thing as you. Everybody has your back. I'm here to help you. I'm acting as if I'm Jeff or Shalia, right?
Yeah.
And then, hey, you know what? Your next step is to buy this course. And then the step after that. So it's like a slow process. Before you know, you're years into it. You're out of money. You've lost your complete sense of self and identity, ability to make decisions. It's classic cult indoctrination.
And then Wes Watson is yelling at you on a FaceTime.
Yeah.
which is
I know.
end stage.
You've made some pretty good reels on Instagram with that. I've seen them.
Shout out to Baller Busters Instagram.
Why? They call it out.
Expose all of those people.
Yeah. So in December 2019, many female members were paired with other women and allegedly told by Jeff and Shalia that they were actually divine masculines. Because 80% of Twin Flames universe is comprised of women.
That's for Jeff, right?
Most of whom are heterosexual. What's for Jeff?
The 80% women statistic.
What do you mean that's for Jeff?
Isn't he having sex with all these people?
No, he's not.
Okay.
They allegedly forced these individuals to adopt new names, pronouns, and gender presentations. According to a former member named Victoria, behind closed doors, members were essentially being reassigned gender and undergoing a twisted hack form of conversion therapy.
Wow.
By completely unqualified people and also against their nature.
Yeah.
They didn't identify that way.
That's strange.
In the Amazon Prime documentary called Desperately Seeking Soulmate, Escaping Twin Flames Universe, they feature two women named Katrina and Anne Irwin, who are two lesbian mothers who'd met and fallen in love with each other while married to men. Twin Flames affirmed their need to leave their marriages to be with one another, to become coaches in the Twin Flames universe, and to take on the unpaid, extremely labor-intensive positions of VP of sales, as well as managing their own small group of coaches.
Unpaid?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, to be clear, if these women chose to leave their marriages to pursue a partner, or a life that felt more authentic to them, that's entirely their right and their choice.
Yeah.
However, for Jeff to have demanded that they abandon their marriages and families, take on these unpaid positions within the organization is an entirely different and deeply troubling level.
Yeah.
In the third part of the documentary, Anne describes how Jeff relentlessly pressured her to begin identifying as a man and to start going by the name Dan. And I've seen these videos of him doing that. Everything is recorded, by the way, because, as I said in the beginning, this is an online-based organization.
And they're wanting to use footage against people.
Against people, and then to use it to show other people what they do in their coursework.
Okay.
Jeff taunted Anne. He bullied her. He called her Anne the Man in an effort to break her down and force her to submit. After all, someone had to fill the divine masculine role to keep his rigid principle intact, regardless of how it impacted her sense of self. When Anne resisted, Jeff sent text messages like, quote, "You guys look dumb as fuck hiding behind the lie still. Take a guy's name and a guy's pronoun, or I will need to put someone else in charge of sales who does respect my work."
Please.
Do it.
Yeah.
Eventually, after all the work that these women did on themselves, for TFU, was for nothing. Because in the end, when they wouldn't bend to Jeff's will, he excommunicated them. Severed them from their livelihood because they got to keep money that they made from the coaching. So they weren't paid by the organization, but any money that they brought in, they could keep. They were excommunicated from their livelihood, from the group they called home for 2 years, from all that they had worked to become within the organization, all because Anne refused to become someone she wasn't and defied the almighty Jeff Divine. Another member who talked back to Jeff received an email from Shalia stating, quote, "Hope you continue to humble your arrogance as it burns you and leading you to your next lifetime with severe Down syndrome."
What?
I mean, and this is your almighty leader.
Yeah.
Some members reportedly have gone so far as to physically and psychologically transition genders and undergo surgeries, such as top surgery, to conform to the roles that Jeff and Shalia assign them. At least 3 people have undergone medical procedures because their teachings, framed as metaphysical truths, just reinforce Jeff and Shalia's claims of having exclusive spiritual authority, which of course gives them immense control over their followers' lives, agency, and relationships. According to TFU teachings, twin flame connections are presented as absolute, unavoidable, and non-negotiable. Listen to this, regardless of whether one or both individuals are unwilling or uninterested. So members are instructed to pursue their twin flame, and this is a quote, "at all costs," even if the two have never met, live on opposite sides of the country, or if the pursuit results in feelings of humiliation, rejection, or even a restraining order being issued against them.
Wow.
Jeff and Shalia allegedly and very strongly, in my opinion, put actual lives in danger. One disturbing example of this happened a few years ago when a vulnerable 19-year-old woman was allegedly told by Jeff and Shalia that her twin flame was an ex-convict, active drug addict, living across the country in Utah wearing an electronic monitoring device around his ankle. He couldn't leave because of this device, so they encouraged her to get on a plane and go to him. And how did Jeff and Shalia identify this young woman's supposed felonious flame? He happened to randomly like one of this woman's Facebook posts, and Jeff and Shalia took that insignificant, superficial social media interaction as divine confirmation, proclaiming, he's the one. Jeff and Shalia encourage and allegedly pressure their members to pursue their twin flame, again, at all costs, whatever it takes, even if it goes against the will or consent of the other person. So they reinforce this dangerous boundary-violating dynamic through the framework of what they call the runner and the chaser. And every twin flame relationship has that dynamic.
I know about that.
Do you?
Well, we learned about that. My friend Damian and I learned about that.
Shout out to Damian.
In a codependence workshop that we went to. It's so obvious once you hear it labeled, because it basically is like, not in cult terms. One person in a relationship is pushing towards the other person in an attempt to get closer, and the other person in an unhealthy relationship is retreating because they're too available, and that is not what they're used to. They want somebody who's unavailable. So the other person will get the hint eventually, start retreating, and then the retreater becomes the chaser. And then that goes back and forth, back and forth. They go further and further and further until one day you're in like no man's land and you're absolutely
in toxic territory.
Super toxic.
Yeah.
The whole thing is toxic to a certain extent. There has to be a little bit of that in the beginning. When people start using it as a tool to control people, by the way, obviously, cult doesn't need to have multiple people. Like, people try and form their own little cults with other people that they can control and manipulate.
Sure.
So that's
so the runner,
that sounds right.
The runner and the chaser dynamic, I'm going to explain it as
runner and chaser, meaning running away.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Okay.
The way that it presents in TFU. I'll tell you what it is, and
Sure.
you'll see how it's a little bit different.
Okay.
So in their teachings, the divine masculine is the runner, like end of, described as instinctively pulling away from the connection due to overwhelming emotions, fear of intimacy, or unresolved personal issues triggered by their twin flame.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of it is the divine feminine, who's cast as the chaser, and she is expected to actively nurture and pursue the relationship, driven by a supposed spiritual obligation and an intense yearning to reunite. This dynamic normalizes obsessive and coercive behaviors and frames them as necessary steps on a spiritual journey. So as part of the doctrine, the dynamic creates this toxic cycle that fosters obsession and prioritizes adherence to TFU's teachings over personal safety and consent. Because regardless of whether or not someone is already married, has children, is living a full and happy life outside in the world, if Jeff and Shalia decide that that person is the twin flame of one of their members, they encourage their member to do whatever it takes to pursue that relationship, no matter the consequences. There's one video that I listened to where Jeff flat out says, if you find someone who's your twin flame and they're married, they have no choice. So, quote, dissolve the marriage. In one seriously alarming case, a female member designated as a chaser violated a restraining order against her ex, whom Jeff identified as being her twin flame, which ultimately resulted in this woman's arrest and imprisonment.
Wow, I'm very surprised someone in a cult would have a restraining order against them.
Yeah. In 2014,
oh my God,
which of the following people filed a restraining order against a fan who claimed to be his twin flame?
Okay.
A, Chris Pratt.
Okay.
B, Ryan Gosling. C, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Chris Pratt.
No.
Ryan Gosling?
Yes.
Is it me?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. This is a safe space.
Yeah.
Was it you?
I don't remember getting any mail, but it very well could have been.
It was probably an email.
Yeah.
And you might have missed it, but you have a restraining order out.
Wow, that's crazy. In what state?
All states.
No.
You freak.
All state.
Yeah, the goose man.
Yeah. Wow. Sorry, Ryan. I didn't realize that my behavior was making you uncomfortable. I didn't even like him back then, by the way.
Really?
2014.
Oh, who were you into?
Jay-Z.
Oh, yeah.
No, the movie that got me into him was Crazy Stupid Love.
Ryan, obviously.
Yeah. With him and Steve Carell, Tina Fey.
Uh-huh. I'm still waiting to get into him. Turns out we have different tastes in men.
Yeah, I know. The case that I listened to for Psychopedia today, we were talking about, you said you didn't like Ryan Gosling. We were talking about Taron Egerton.
Oh, I love Taron Egerton.
Yeah, I know. We're going to talk about Ryan Gosling on Patreon.
Okay.
I need to get to the bottom of this.
Okay. So the gateway to Twin Flames universe is the private Twin Flame Ascension course, a program of ongoing online classes that functions like a twisted therapeutic reality show.
Sorry to interrupt again. So question, these people are not all centrally located.
No, so this is
spread out.
They're spread out. This is an online YouTube cult. Okay,
Wow.
so Jeff and Shalia live in Michigan. They operate this with cameras in their home.
Yeah.
And the members are worldwide at this point.
Just being told to go pursue people and they're doing it?
They are. It's spiritual ascension. It's reaching that spiritual height in such a way that then enables you to find and connect and unite with your twin flame. By the way, according to Jeff, you cannot be happy, you cannot live a fulfilled life until you have united with your twin flame.
Okay,
so
Jeff.
Literally nothing else good will happen in your world until you find your twin flame.
Yeah.
So if you believed that, you would stop at nothing.
True.
Members pay to attend recorded group sessions led by Jeff and Shalia where they dissect their twin flame journeys under their unprofessional, unlicensed, unqualified guidance. Designed to be infinitely scalable, this model maximizes profit while fostering a sense of exclusivity and dependency on the teachings. The sessions have been marketed as life-changing and promises members access, as I said, to enlightenment, love, and ultimate fulfillment. But the ultimate allure is that Jeff and Shalia assure followers that they too can and will achieve the so-called harmonious twin flame union that they have, which is a deeper level of oneness modeled after the couple's own self-proclaimed spiritual divine perfection. So, who exactly are Mr. and Mrs. Divine, and how did this perfectly harmonious union take place? Jeff Ayen was born in 1988 and grew up in the small town of Lapeer, Michigan, located about 30 minutes east of Flint. Raised in a Catholic family that wasn't especially devout, Jeff's interests as a teenager were eclectic, but maybe somewhat revealing. According to a 2020 Vice article, which, by the way, is responsible for blowing the lid off of this organization, his childhood friend, Eric Rogers, who's also in the Amazon documentary, recalled that one of Jeff's many high school obsessions was listening to speeches by billionaire Warren Buffett. Eric said, quote, he was always about learning and self-betterment, seeking out role models and coaches and all that. Jeff called Buffett the smartest investment mind in the world, and he was determined to learn all that he could from him. Jeff participated in swimming, theater, and talent shows during his school years, and while he didn't exactly excel in any of those areas, he was consistently driven and determined, and crucially, very charismatic.
This is a really interesting example of someone getting somewhat good at one thing or somewhat familiar with one thing, like idolizing Warren Buffett. Is he one of the greatest investment minds that's ever lived? Yes. But he's only good at investing. Like, you're taking investing principles and applying them to relationships. It doesn't transfer, but
it doesn't have to transfer because for Jeff, in my opinion, all he's after is money.
Oh.
Okay. Hang on to that.
Okay.
But that's a really, this is, we circle back to this. Okay. Even from a young age, Jeff was interested in romance, okay? Wasn't his bottom line. Money was always his bottom line. But when it came to love and girls and romance, he longed for meaningful connections versus casual dating or hooking up. One of his high school ex-girlfriends said that he just loved love and that being with him was like being in a John Hughes movie. So he's a filmmaker. He made 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Weird Science.
Yeah.
I loved Weird Science.
It's hard to love somebody who loves love.
It is.
It is because you're interchangeable.
Yes, and you're up against a really high bar. Like, You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're not seeking all that comes with the relationship, which is the good, the bad, the ugly. It's everything.
Yeah.
They want that movie, silver screen, romance.
Well, I have this video I made years ago where somebody's like, if the relationship is right, it should never feel like work. And then I'm like, never? Like, are you 12? You've never been in an adult relationship then?
It's work, but it's work you're happy to do. This podcasting is work, technically, but I love it.
But it is work. So if you're in a relationship and you find yourself working at it, you're in the right.
Listen.
Thinking that a relationship requires no work is so infantile and dishonest and so romantic movie based.
Yes.
That I don't know that anybody in that extreme of a mind state will ever find a good enough relationship.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Relationships are 100% and 100%.
Yeah.
It's not, effortless.
No.
After graduating from Western Michigan University's business school in 2010, Jeff Ayen took a hard pivot from the typical post-college trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
In a sudden and dramatic move, he sold all of his belongings and relocated to a subsistence, farm in California.
You said it just fine.
I did?
Yeah.
Then in 2012, he reinvented himself yet again, this time in Hawaii, where he embraced the role of a lifestyle blogger. Your favorite type of person, Tank. On social media, Jeff adopted the name Ender Ayanethos.
Ender Ayanethos?
Mm-hmm,
Wait, say.
First of all, I said it like that because I told you to remember Ender.
And I remembered.
I know. Here's why.
I remember.
So it's a nod to his favorite book, which is called Ender's Game.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an excellent book. I've read it.
Yeah.
And launched a website called endersadventures.com filled with posts about fringe diets and polyphasic sleep experiments.
Nice.
For context, Ender's Game is a 1985 sci-fi novel about a brilliant young tactician recruited into an elite military school whose genius for leading an army behind a computer screen gradually emerges. Ironically, Jeff seems to have taken inspiration from the book in the most self-serving way possible as a blueprint for running his own empire of dubious influence.
And what did you say? His
last name,
Ayanethan?
His last name is Ayen, A-Y-A-N or Ayen.
Okay.
I've heard it pronounced differently depending on what source you're listening to. So he made it Greek, it sounds like, Ayanethos.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing ethos,
Yeah.
He's so spiritual, Tank. We just don't get him.
Yeah, like the water at Starbucks.
Yes, that spiritually.
That is probably where
in.
he found it. He was like, this is sick. I'm going to add it to my last name.
Jeff's posts, according to his high school friend Eric Rogers, were laced with spiritual buzzwords like heart-centered, conscious, and in alignment with universal principles. Never one to miss a business opportunity, he sold a 6-part video series called The Lifestyle Supercharger, which claimed to teach anyone how to create the life of their dreams. Pop quiz.
Yes.
What was the estimated value of the global spiritual wellness economy in 2023?
Okay, let's have at it.
A, $256 million.
Mm-hmm.
B, $6.2 billion. C, $3.7 trillion.
B.
No.
256 million?
No.
Wait, say the last one again?
$3.7 trillion. That's everything wellness. So that's classes, that's medications, vitamins,
gym memberships,
exactly, beauty regimens,
book sales,
like everything, exactly.
Tony Robbins is probably doing a lot of heavy lifting on that.
He probably is.
His seminars are incredibly expensive, and they go, and people get, to an extent, addicted to those.
Yes,
because they feel so good when they go there. When they leave, there's this idea that people can change.
Can't or can?
Can't.
Okay.
People don't change, bro. First of all, yeah, they do. Second of all, I understand why you're saying that. You've probably never changed. And through no fault of your own, not judging, it's so hard to change.
Yes.
To make actual change in your life.
It is.
Especially as you get older. I hate, can't teach an old
Dog new tricks?
New tricks.
That's false, by the way.
You can. It's just harder.
It is harder. Exactly right.
Exactly,
Exactly. We taught Cash not to steal the kids' foods off the table. Foods when they're done eating. / last night he stole a chicken roll, an entire chicken roll.
So you did a great job teaching him.
This boy was so cute, and we saw it happen, and we let it happen.
You probably undid 2 years of training. You're like, oh, yay.
Oh, it was so cute. My son came running, and he's like, Mom, he's got my chicken roll. I was like, yes, that's such a score.
Yeah.
So while in Hawaii, Jeff reportedly built a shack on some guy's land out in the wilderness using trash and scraps, and he lived there for a long time.
Oh, that was his house?
Yes. And then he rented it out as an Airbnb and incredibly made money this way.
Wow.
Yet, despite his commitment to being spiritually awakened and business savvy, Jeff's blog revealed cracks in his confident facade. He said, quote, "If I'm honest with myself, I'm feeling totally disconnected from a sense of love and connection with the people around me." And this is what he wrote in a 2012 blog. Not long after Jeff's self-proclaimed disconnection from love and connection, his life took a sharp turn when which of the following things happened?
Pop quiz?
PQ.
Good, because you know what? Also, the episode that I listened to today for Unhinged, there were so many pop quizzes.
Is that good or bad?
It's good.
Oh, okay.
You gotta bring them back heavy.
I don't want to
Overdo it?
Yeah.
Tough word, by the way.
I don't know why I stumbled on that word. I was going to say content fatigue
No.
in the PQ realm.
Nope.
A, he set up a camera and live streamed a 24-hour search for his soulmate meditation. B, he walked into a crystal shop and claimed that the largest amethyst spoke to him about his cosmic purpose.
Okay.
C, he received a message from God delivered by angels telling him that his purpose was to bring people closer to God.
Visit from angels, speaking crystal, live stream. Damn. Any one of these is possible.
Yes, sir.
Live stream, amethyst, angels. Shot in the dark here. A.
Nope.
B.
Nope.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out.
Well, he apparently received a message from God delivered by angels. And this message from God was that his life purpose was to bring people back to God. So now he's getting messages from God.
Delivered by angels.
Delivered by angels.
Yeah, which, by the way, most of the time is just raging narcissism.
Yes. Amen.
I do believe people get called to do stuff and you have your calling and et cetera, but...
This is where I struggle, right? Because I don't, first of all, in terms of Jeff himself, I don't know if he really believes the shit he puts out. I don't know if he really believes that he got a message from angels, from God and whatever.
Yeah.
Or if he's making it up. Either way, yes, he's a narcissist. Either way, he's not well, in my opinion. But
well, if he
what is the difference, right? Like, what if somebody really is like at church? And I say this totally, completely respectfully because I don't understand.
Here's how you can tell. If the calling is directed towards you manipulating other people somehow, it's self-serving, I should say, it's probably you. It's probably you. Like I knew when I was 20.
What if the belief is all the same? Like you don't know it's you.
They don't know. They have no idea.
Yeah.
But that's lacking awareness. That's not spirituality. That is, like I said, raging narcissism. There are people. There do be people, by the way, who develop what's called a spigo, a spiritual ego. They get so high on their own spirituality, by the way, which of the entire point is to humble you and make you right-sized and honest. And humility is a word that I think the majority of people understand. The one that I like, the definition, is that humility is just the ability to truly see who you are in this world without making yourself worse or without making yourself better, putting yourself below or higher than anybody, all equal.
You are not better than anyone. No one is better than you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a great phrase where humility is, it's not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less.
I like that a lot.
So like the more you're obsessed with yourself, the less likely it is that you're getting some kind of divine mention put on your soul.
Huh. Nice contribution.
Allegedly.
After spending about 5 years in Hawaii, Jeff crossed paths on Facebook with a woman slightly older than him named Megan Plant, as she pronounces it, but I think it's Plant, but okay.
Oh my God, so annoying.
Later known as Shalia.
Shalia.
Megan/Shalia was a photography student and Reiki enthusiast living in Sedona, Arizona, though she originally hailed from Ontario, Canada.
There do be things going on in Sedona.
It's a very spiritual hub.
Also. Oh, wait, we spoke about that.
Yes, we did.
Yes, because there's bad vortexes.
Yep.
And over there, there's supposedly good vortexes, which I have not experienced, but I will one day.
Yes. Her life, however, had been anything but picture perfect. Shalia's childhood was steeped in hardship and heartbreak. I'm going to be referring to her as Shalia just to keep it consistent, but at this point in her life, she was Megan.
Shalele, yep.
Her family, struggling financially, spent much of their time living in a basement as her father traveled frequently for work, seemingly unable to hold down a stable career. Her mother, burdened by the weight of their circumstances, worked tirelessly but exuded an unmistakable unhappiness that cast a shadow over their home. Then, tragically, Megan later revealed that when she was just 3 years old, her babysitter's 2 sons began sexually abusing her, which continued for years. Conflicted by her strict Catholic upbringing, Shalia didn't know how or even if she should speak up, so she stayed silent, carrying the trauma alone.
Mm-hmm.
Quietly, she directed her blame at her mother for failing to notice and protect her.
Yeah.
Then the instability of Megan's upbringing deepened when she was 10 and her parents' strained marriage unraveled, ending in divorce. Her father vanished for 6 months after that, only to reappear in the United States with a new wife and baby,
What?
suggesting perhaps that his frequent business trips may have just been an elaborate cover for an affair.
So that's exactly like when I hear that somebody's traveling for work, but they don't have a steady career, I'm like, what are you doing?
That's where your mind goes.
What are you traveling for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If
Right.
you don't have a job where it's required to travel, why are you never home?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
In this case,
6
it was.
a child
Yeah.
and a new wife.
Left with an emotionally distant father, an unhappy mother, and a childhood defined by chaos and abuse, Shalia began to understandably search for a sense of safety and connection in a world that seemed unkind and unpredictable. But any hope of stability was shattered when Shalia turned 15 and her mother died of brain cancer, forcing Shalia and her brother to move in with relatives.
Oh, God, I thought you were going to say the dad.
No, but he still had a part in her life. He refers to it as, I think, something like long distant parenting or something to that extent. He lived in the US. She was in Canada at this point.
Yeah.
He claims in the Amazon documentary that he still was like involved in her life just from afar, which is tricky because, I don't know how you can actively parent from another country.
He can. He's lying to himself.
Right.
Himself feel
But
better.
I'm not saying he didn't love her, and I'm not saying that parents who don't, live in the same location as their children aren't wonderful parents. I don't get that feeling from him, but I don't know, obviously.
You
for
don't
sure.
get what feeling that
he was a wonderful father and involved in this and that. He up and left. He vanished for 6 months. He reemerged in the U.S. with a brand new family.
Yeah. You probably heard that phrase from someone who was actually doing it out of necessity, who was dying to see their kids every day.
Like I know parents who literally had to immigrate to the U.S. because they have to support their children back home.
Yes.
And that's different than what's going on here.
No, he wanted to get some.
I think so.
Yeah.
But this loss of her mother, Shalia, just
Huge.
amplified her longing for a life of purpose and love and a sense of permanence.
Yeah.
She never really had any of those things.
Such a tough age for that to happen.
Yes.
Too, by the way.
After finishing high school and college, Shalia moved to Sedona, Arizona, a place known for its mystical energy and spiritual allure, in a desperate attempt to find inner peace. She worked at a Thai restaurant to support herself, but devoted most of her time to studying what she called intuitive arts, which was a blend of Reiki, energy healing, and manifestation techniques. Determined to reinvent herself, Shalia adopted the name Shalia, right? She was Megan, a symbol of her new identity and spiritual aspirations.
Does Shalia have a meaning?
Yes. I think it depends on what language. I think it's like a name that is used in various cultures. I know that it can mean peace. It can mean harmony. It's supposed to evoke a sense of tranquility, beauty.
Yeah.
all the good feeling stuff.
Sounds nice.
It does sound nice. It was supposed to just be a symbol of her new identity, as I said, and spiritual aspirations.
Yeah.
She dreamed of a life imbued with meaning, centered on a marriage that would finally provide her with the stability and belonging that she lacked in her early life, but so desperately craved. She yearned for someone to fill the void, someone to complete her. In other words, Shalia was searching for her twin flame.
And in other words, that is a tough place to make good decisions from.
Yes, and enter Jeff Ayan, a.k.a. Ender,
A.k.a. Jeff Ayanitos.
a.k.a. Jeff Divine. Shalia's interest in New Age practices aligned perfectly with Jeff's growing fixation on spirituality and, of course, his entrepreneurial ambitions.
Mm-hmm.
According to their self-published origin story, Jeff commented on one of her photos that she was, quote-unquote, weirdly sexy on Facebook. Then Shalia offered to do a psychic card reading for Jeff after secretly burying a chicken wishbone in the ground to signify a twin flame union. The pair began to regularly message each other on Facebook, and soon a spark of connection, or a flame, if you will, ignited between them.
I will.
Pop quiz.
Yes.
What did one of Shalia's first private messages say to Jeff?
Okay.
A, you horny? B, my aura matches your vibration.
Okay.
C, I think our chakras just swiped right. D, want to spike your kombucha and watch me meditate?
B.
No.
D.
Mm-mm.
A.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. So spiritual.
That's what I'm saying, man. Crack the fucking facade. Like,
Yeah.
they are human. They are not spiritually enlightened. They
Yeah.
are just fucking people that went on to do not great stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She wrote, you horny? And the rest is history.
As it would be.
Right. After some time, Jeff and Shalia moved in together, ate hot dogs for 3 meals a day, and launched a blog called Awakened Intimacy. Their initial goal was to share their journey of finding each other as twin flames and to offer guidance for others seeking the same connection. However, what began as relationship advice quickly escalated into delusion and very dangerous practices.
Yeah, they were both set up very well to go off the rails.
Correct.
Especially with each other.
Exactly. Like, I'm picturing two twin flames coming together and exploding.
Two horny angels.
Exactly.
Just doubling down on their efforts.
Exactly.
Spreading it out to the world.
Yep. Because when their blog wasn't getting enough traction off the bat, Jeff then started to claim that he possessed spiritual gifts powerful enough to cure PTSD and cancer.
What?
Then he started charging 5 figures for these so-called miraculous services. After having a 20-minute conversation with a woman over Facebook Messenger, Jeff allegedly claimed that he cured a woman of multiple sclerosis. Basically,
Over the phone.
over Facebook Messenger.
Over Facebook message. Words, texting.
Yeah. Basically, at this point, Jeff's approach to building his brand mirrored the tech industry mantra of the time, which was move fast and break things.
Yep.
Meaning, if one idea failed to gain traction on a particular platform, he would swiftly throw a spaghetti strand against a different wall to see if it stuck. Metaphorically.
Yes.
As Vice aptly described it, Jeff's methods embodied a, quote, iterative, agile spirituality in which he blended opportunism and audacious claims in the pursuit of influence and profit.
Shout out to Odyssey.
Shout out. And sure enough, after years of reinventing himself, experiencing a spiritual awakening, living in a shack, meeting his other half, one of his creations, or strands of spaghetti, finally stuck. And that was the Twin Flames universe. For Shalia, it appeared to be a genuine opportunity, at least initially, to share her spiritual practices with a wider audience. For Jeff, however, it seemed equally, if not more, like a chance to build a profitable enterprise and to play God.
Can I say something? For some reason, right off the bat, when you started talking about these two, my first instinct, because I am plugged in,
You are.
was that this was almost entirely his fault.
I agree.
And that he was, she went along with it, but there's always a driver. And I did not feel, with the colloidal silver chick,
Yes.
I felt like right off the bat, she was the driver, right? So yeah, this girl got pulled into something that she didn't probably even realize.
There's a lot of debate whether she is quote unquote victim zero, right?
Yeah.
If she's just under his coercive control, under his thumb, she comes sadly from an abusive background.
Cult of one.
Exactly. In the Amazon documentary, her father is interviewed, and her father is like, she is 100% complicit in all of the horrible things that have gone down in that cult. I know her behind the scenes. I know who she was in our family, how she behaved. She is not a victim. She is a perpetrator.
Yeah.
They also interviewed her best friend in the documentary, and her best friend was like, I cannot reconcile this woman who's robbing people and hurting people to the girl I knew growing up. She's a victim.
Well, what would her father know?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
While I was long distance parenting
Exactly.
her, I did notice a few things.
Exactly. That's exactly right. You have to think about the source where the information is coming from.
I trust the best friend way more.
Yeah, when you look at Shalia, I'll speak for myself. When I look at Shalia, I'm always victim sensitive.
Yeah.
So I look at her, she's always quiet most of the time on these recordings. At the very end, she does the like she really does the spiritual stuff, or she's trying to. Sometimes she'll back her man up. If he's getting nasty, she'll say like, yeah, listen to Jeff, or you know what I mean? Something very sort of simple just to show she's contributing, but it's always like, I have his back.
Yeah.
When you look at her face, when I look at her face, I see someone, to me, who looks afraid to go against what her partner is saying and doing.
Yeah. Behind the scenes, there was probably some nasty
it's like
stuff.
the Colleen Stan case we did,
Yes.
right? His wife was horrific. She completely abused Colleen Stan.
Yeah.
I mean, disgusting what she did.
Yeah.
But then you learn that she too was a victim of this fucking maniac.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just have to consider that. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this brings us essentially to the top of the story with the beginner gateway course that I mentioned that they started charging people to take in order to begin the journey of finding their twin flame.
How much did they charge?
I have those prices in a minute.
Okay.
What started out as one course then allegedly exploded into a full MLM or multi-level marketing scheme.
Oh my God.
/ cult, whatever, where promises of spiritual enlightenment and eternal love came with coercion, manipulation, psychological abuse, and hefty price tags that left many followers deeply entangled in debt and financially dependent on these like and subscribe messengers of God. I love that laugh because you're like feeling it. In addition to the intro course, followers of the group were required to purchase Jeff and Shalia's book titled Twin Flames, Finding Your Ultimate Lover. Over time, members were then required to purchase and/or attend a number of virtual follow-up classes, workshops, and seminars under the guise of finding love, wealth, and happiness. Through coaching and additional required courses held on Google Hangout, members were also encouraged to become coaches themselves. There's the MLM. Where they could then target their own group of students to whom they could sell video packages like Dreams Coming True e-course for $777, Twin Flames Ascension School for $3,333, and the Everything package, the Everything store for $8,888.
Wow, that's insane.
Yes. Jeff allegedly promised six-figure salaries and a 10% commission to anyone who sold a lifetime membership to Twin Flames Universe, a milestone that was near impossible to achieve.
And the lifetime membership was $8,888?
That was the everything package. I think the lifetime membership is even more.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Even these idiots doing courses online have the wherewithal to charge like $79.
Oh, yeah. Well, the initial course is I think $111 or something like that, or the monthly membership or whatever it is.
Only angel numbers.
What? Oh,
the only price on angel numbers.
Right. Members were instructed to leverage their personal social networks to recruit new followers into TFU, but were then encouraged to sever ties with anyone who chose not to participate. This approach not only isolated members further, but also ensured that their primary relationships revolved around the group.
Mm-hmm.
Classic cult behavior.
Sorry, I can't hang out. You didn't buy my everything package.
Yeah, you're not a real one.
Yeah.
Additionally, recruitment efforts targeted marginalized and potentially vulnerable individuals, those who might be more susceptible to TFU's promises of healing and belonging. For example, one member was directed to seek out individuals who experienced trauma, while another was tasked with focusing on LGBTQ individuals and those with special needs. This was a highly...
Oh, they're not even hiding it.
This was
They're trying to hide it.
Well, they're telling their coaches to target people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like,
no.
Usually targeting vulnerable people is kind of like, don't talk about it, but that is what we do.
It's under the guise of so we can help them.
Yeah, no, but they're going right for the vulnerable groups by name.
This was a highly calculated tactic to exploit those already seeking community, connection, or support, making them prime targets for indoctrination. According to a cult expert named Janja Lalik,
What?
sick name and sick profession.
Can you say it one more time?
Janja Lalik.
Wait, say it again.
Janja.
Oh.
It's probably Lalich. Lalich. Or Lalich.
Okay. I thought you were saying John Jalich or something. No. But I'm here. Janja. Okay. Sick name. Anyway.
Sick profession.
Yeah, cult expert.
This is what this individual said. Quote, what happens in a high control group like this is it's not just the leader who abuses the members, but in the end, everyone ends up being a perpetrator in a way because you're groomed and trained to go after each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that was stated in the Netflix documentary series titled Escaping Twin Flames.
That's the one that I think I saw with my eyeballs.
Members were also reportedly instructed to spy on one another and were banned from telling other members about their financial hardship. Jeff and Shalia allegedly told these members that they were choosing poverty consciousness and that anyone who spoke about the fact that they were now broke as a result of TFU would essentially be seen as problematic and dealt with accordingly.
Yeah.
He also allegedly required members to write essays explaining why TFU was not a cult.
Really?
Yeah.
We're not a cult.
Tell me why.
I need some ideas.
Yeah, well,
for when people ask me.
He's just mounting evidence in his favor. Over time, Jeff went full cliche and grew out long hair and a beard until he looked like he'd just stepped off the set of Jesus Christ Superstar. Jeff stated in a video that I watched that the images of Christ are, in fact, images of him, rather than, quote, a Jewish guy from Israel.
Makes sense.
Taking his God complex even further, Jeff has openly claimed to be Christ himself and has often referred to himself as the Master Christ, eternal ruler of all creation by God's loving hand. To which Shalia has responded in the most cringeworthy manner, I'm banging the Christ.
Wow.
Ugh.
She said that?
Ugh. I feel for her, as I said, because I think in many ways she's a victim, but then she does stuff that makes me feel things.
Yeah.
He's allegedly, Jeff told his followers that his teachings are the fire of Christ and insists it is their theological duty to obey his commands without question, positioning his authority as divinely ordained and beyond challenge. He and Shalia even established an online church called the Church of Union, an ostensibly spiritual endeavor that streams Sunday services while appearing to serve other purposes as well, such as avoiding taxes, bypassing labor costs, and tightening their grip of control over members. In one video clip, Jeff has openly admitted that the church, which teaches the religion of unionism, allows him to avoid paying employees because he can classify them as unpaid volunteers instead. He literally said, this is a quote, "I've got the solution. We're going to turn part of our company into a religion. And in this way, I don't have to pay people. I can just have volunteers."
And you don't have to pay taxes.
Right. Meanwhile, Jeff and Shalia have made zero effort to hide the wealth that they've amassed as spiritual gurus and frequently flaunt their Gucci phone cases, designer clothing, luxury sports cars, and sprawling home in their videos, shamelessly showcasing the disparity between their lifestyle and the sacrifices demanded of their followers.
Sounds very Christ-like, by the way.
Very.
Yeah. His robe was Gucci.
Obviously,
you know that.
Of course.
Yeah, Prada sandals.
Gold-laced rope tying around his waist.
He was big on materialism.
Exactly.
Huge. Do you know how much money they were making?
Well, I'm going to tell you what he said right here.
Okay.
He said he was with Shalia and he said, quote, "Today we discovered that we are not just millionaires, we're multimillionaires. And it's been this way for almost a year now." And Shalia actually tried to suggest
Just discovered?
that driving a Porsche was giving back to people because who wouldn't want to see a beautiful car driving past them? She said, "I feel good about giving in that way."
The mental gymnastics.
Gag me with a spork.
Why?
That's my favorite
Why?
expression with my cousin.
Who the hell? That's not an expression.
You know what a spork is?
Yeah, it's gag me with a spoon.
No, but we say spork.
Oh, I hate it.
Well, you can't hang out with us then.
Yeah, I don't think I want to.
I just picture the sporks at Taco Bell.
Yes.
You know? Okay. Whatever. It's funny for us.
Yeah.
To those of us on the outside of the spork community, it seems obvious that what Jeff and Shalia preached often stood in stark contrast to how they allegedly behaved and quickly revealed a deeply disturbing pattern of hypocrisy and manipulation. While they spoke of divine love and spiritual enlightenment, their actions reportedly exposed a focus on everything but, and the cultivation of unwavering loyalty from their followers, hallmarks of classic cult leadership. Also, in classic cult-like fashion, Jeff and Shalia allegedly maintained strict control of nearly every aspect of their members' lives, including diet. Pop quiz. What type of diet is encouraged/enforced at Twin Flames Universe?
Ready.
A constant calorie deficit, leaving members disoriented, weak, and easier to manipulate. B, a high-carb, red meat-based diet causing significant weight gain and health issues. C, a near liquid-only diet consisting of smoothies, juices, and broths promoted as a way to detox the body and reach higher spiritual status.
See?
No.
A?
No.
Fuck, I suck.
Isn't that your best showing?
Red meat and carbs?
Yes.
Where do I sign up? Damn, I got to eat this steak and potatoes again.
So members are reportedly encouraged to follow this, through the TFU meal plan, Divine Dish.
Do they make the food and sell it? Or is it like just you got to... No, because they're all over the country.
Right. This diet has led to significant weight gain and health issues, with one member estimating that she gained up to 70 pounds in just a matter of months. The justification for this? Well, Jeff and Shalia claim that the heavier diet would help members stay grounded and present in their bodies while reinvigorating their sex lives.
Yeah, heavier.
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, many of the members not only gained a shit ton of weight, but they also developed diabetes, like real health issues. Controlling calorie intake is classic cult behavior, but in this case with a twist, because normally we see leaders enforce strict calorie deficits to keep their people physically weak and easier to control.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeff is fixated on weight gain, and you can actually see a steady weight gain in Shalia. Not him, by the way. I don't know if it doesn't apply to him or he can't gain weight. He's very, very, very lean, whereas Shalia consistently throughout time has gained weight, which suggests to me that there's more at play than just narcissistic control. I think there's clear undertones of feedism in his behavior.
Of what?
So feedism, which is sometimes called a feeding kink, historically referred to as feederism, is a sexual fetish centered on the act of feeding or being fed, as well as the physical indicators of being well fed.
Oh my God. My therapist told me years ago about a couple who were so paranoid that the other person was going to cheat on them that they just fed each other into morbid obesity.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But maybe it was a little bit of a kink also.
Maybe. The kink is often linked to fat fetishism and belly-centric preferences and frequently overlaps with other related fetishes, including two. One that's known as inflation, and the second one, vorophilia, which we've talked about. So inflation is the sexual interest in the fantasy or act of inflating a part of one's body or the body of another, often achieved by wearing inflatable suits inserting balloons or other objects under clothing, or even by ingesting large amounts of liquid, leading to a feeling and a look of fullness or expansion.
Wow. So a fetish.
Yeah, if you will.
By the way, we're calling it a footish from now on.
A footish?
Yeah, not a foot fetish. I'm calling it a footish.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
I can't believe it's been right there all along. I'm going to start a website.
Shut up. Did you see the wheel spinning in my head while I was silent? I didn't know if I should say it or not because I was going to sound like a creep, but I was going to say something like, obviously, we're starting a website after this.
Footish.com.
Yeah.
We pay higher percentages than feet finders.
So the other fetish is vor, which is short for vorophilia. We've talked about that, I think, on our Issei Sagawa episode.
Yeah, I forgot what it is.
It's a paraphilia characterized by the erotic desire to be consumed by or to personally consume another human being.
Yes.
It's an erotic attraction to the process of eating or being eaten. Many believe that fetism is a form of intimate partner violence. This is what I want you to take away from this. Using Stark's theory of coercive control, which posits that coercive control is the primary strategy used by men to subordinate female intimate partners. To me, this is absolutely what's going on with Jeff. Part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's watching Shalia's weight gain is a sexual fetish. I think that, and it's just another form of, and there's no proof that he's abusing her, but I do think that there is intimate partner violence going on, whether it's coercive violence or actual violence.
Yeah.
And I think that the weight gain is symptomatic of that.
It's about control too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
In addition to controlling diet, as we just discussed, and finances, as we discussed, and sexual identity/relationships, as discussed, and isolating members from their outside lives and families,
as discussed.
Twin Flames Universe also employs a technique known as the mirror exercise. As indicated on their website, the mirror exercise is based on the principle that your entire external reality is a reflection of your inner world, meaning your thoughts and beliefs shape how you experience life. That's fine. I'm with that.
Yeah.
Therefore, you are only ever experiencing whatever is within you. Okay. So the website states, quote, since only you can control how you choose to feel about something, healing your upsets is in your hands. This is a good thing. It means that no one has the power to take away your peace, your good feeling. The mirror exercise allows you to do just that. Heal yourself and feel better again. While it works, even if used just once, applying this tool diligently is what truly brings lasting results.
I do believe that, and that is actually part of my tank's titty today.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Plugged in.
Yeah, but here's how it works, and here's how it winds up working against.
I'm sure they pervert
many players here. Exactly. If you feel upset with your twin flame because he's ignoring you, you're supposed to turn that around and say, I'm upset with myself because I'm ignoring myself. On the surface, taking responsibility for your emotions might seem like a reasonable, even healthy practice, but it can become extremely dangerous when it's applied indiscriminately, leaving no room to acknowledge that some problems may genuinely exist outside of yourself and require external solutions or boundaries.
Yes.
For example, in one of the recorded TFU sessions, a woman can be heard explaining to Jeff and Shalia that her twin flame is bullying her. She sounds upset. She sounds worried, perhaps fearful of a potential escalation with this individual, her twin flame. In response, rather than seeing this as a potentially dangerous situation and suggesting that this woman seek professional help or a safer situation, Jeff asked, well, who put you in that position? You did. And the woman replies, I don't want him. I can't stand the way he acts. To which Jeff, I remind you, an unlicensed, unqualified mental health professional replied, you don't want yourself. And then he laughed like a mocking, gross laugh at how upset the woman sounded as she cried. And then in the end, she's just so broken. And she goes, you're just fucking with my family.
Meaning?
He's deciding for her that she should stay with this disgusting person that she doesn't want to be with, that's bullying her.
Wait, what family though? Does she have a family outside of that?
I think she means her life with this twin flame. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, calling him a professional is extremely generous.
Yeah. Who called him a professional?
You did.
I said he's unprofessional.
No.
Well, then I said it wrong.
You said unlicensed, unqualified mental health professional.
Ew, I meant unprofessional. Oops. Twin Flames Universe attempts to resolve trauma. Okay?
Uh-huh. By causing more of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They use something called the mind alignment process, or MAP. And it's described by one former member as the mirror exercise on steroids. So during these sessions, members are placed into a meditative state where their thoughts and beliefs become highly suggestible. Then, while they're in this vulnerable state, they're often led to form or accept false memories, which they are then encouraged to work through as part of their healing journey.
Accept false memories?
Yeah.
And then work through those false memories?
Yep. For example, some members claim that they were told that they'd experienced sexual trauma as children, memories that they didn't have before they entered TFU, memories they later began to question as being potentially implanted during these MAP sessions. So as part of this process, members are reportedly led to believe that individuals from their outside lives either participated in past abuse or were complicit in it by failing to protect them. So these people in their lives are painted as dangerous individuals, and then TFU says, now cut them off.
Yeah.
And that's just another...
That's fucked up.
Yeah, tool. Also, members are allegedly discouraged from seeking professional mental health in connection with anything they're experiencing. So let's say now somebody really believes that they've been sexually abused as a child. They're told they can't get help.
Well, imagine going to a therapist and being like, so this cult that I'm in, they told me... the therapist would be like, I'm locking you in my office.
Yes.
Give me the address of where these people are.
And sicking the cops on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like many high control groups, Twin Flames Universe is said to pressure members into severing ties with their families unless these family members send money to TFU. Then you can keep them in your life because these people are not part of their soul family.
Yeah.
TFU is their soul family.
Understood.
Now, some of the parents of the members involved in TFU have actually formed a community of their own in which they're working to collect evidence against Jeff and Shalia that proves the group is a harmful cult preying upon vulnerable, typically lonely people.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is why they were so successful at recruiting new members during the pandemic.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jeff and Shalia appear to be masters at identifying people who may be at a moment of transition or vulnerability, luring them in, and then slowly indoctrinating them.
Yeah.
The frog in the boiling pot of water. Jeff and Shalia have, of course, denied allegations that they are running a cult. Jeff said, "A cult is an organization of abuse that systematically takes from and harms its members to enrich its founder. We created an organization of love and harmony which heals and enriches everyone in it and everyone who is connected to anyone in it."
And then he got in his Porsche and he peeled out.
Exactly. And he said that in that Vice article that I mentioned, like blew the lid off this.
Yeah.
So they claim nobody's been hurt, right? But many members who have managed to break free from this toxic, dangerous group have faced arrests. They've had involuntary psychiatric treatment in the wake of their involvement.
Involuntary? Oh, like they were a danger?
Right.
Oh.
Vice even reviewed a group of messages between Twin Flames' highest ranks and saw how they were allegedly discussing ways in which to handle a member's death by suicide. And yet, they claim nobody's hurt.
Yeah.
Now, when liberated victims attempt to publicly speak out against TFU and or its founders, many are met with an aggressive legal clapback. In June of 2020, Jeff and Shalia filed a pair of lawsuits against 7 ex-members and one of their parents. The litigation dragged on for nearly a year until a judge ruled in March 2021 that Michigan courts were not the proper jurisdiction.
Okay.
Jeff and Shalia also allegedly wrote letters to former members who were threatening to speak out, letters that went on to describe life-ruining consequences if they chose not to retract their stories. In these letters, Jeff and Shalia allegedly threatened imminent lawsuits, police investigations, bankruptcy, jail time, and the publication of, quote, very revealing and very uncomfortable information if members proceeded with discussing their truth.
Well, hey, Mr. Cult Leader, why do you have that information? Like, why would a non-cult have information that could ruin somebody's life?
Such sensitive, right? That's right.
So wait, the Michigan judge ruled that Michigan was not the proper jurisdiction. So where did it get sent to, or did it?
Right now, it's done.
I'd like to take this case on pro bono.
You're hired. As of now, no criminal charges have been filed against Twin Flames Universe founders, Jeff and Shalia Devine. In 2020, the Farmington Hills Police Department investigated the organization, that's where they live, but were unable to determine that any crimes took place in Farmington Hills. So they forwarded their report to the FBI for a review of possible federal crimes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Agreed. Despite allegations of cult-like behavior and manipulation, the Devines continue to operate Twin Flames University from their home in Michigan and continue to deny any wrongdoing. Jeff and Shalia have a daughter now named Grace Violet, aka Divine Baby Grace, who was born in April 2023. And I worry about that child a great deal.
Yeah.
According to Jeff and Shalia, since they are so spiritually ascended, Grace is extra ascended. This rhetoric is so concerning because it sets up a framework where Grace may grow up under immense pressure to embody their lofty, self-proclaimed spiritual ideals.
Oh, I'm sure.
It raises questions about how they will treat her individuality and autonomy, or whether she will simply become another extension of their brand, a living symbol of their so-called divine power. If their history of manipulation and control is any indication, Grace could be subject to an environment where her development is shaped less by genuine parental care and more by their agenda. Jeff has literally said on camera, which I've heard, "We will not tolerate resistance to us." Jeff has already determined that Grace is going to be celibate because, and I quote, "She can satisfy herself completely and give herself all the sex she needs. The only sexual partner she's permitted to have is God."
She's a year old, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Reminder, Jeff thinks he's Christ.
Aye.
So if this doesn't raise red flags, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
Jeff Devine, in my view, exemplifies the traits of a narcissistic, delusional, and potentially psychopathic predator with an all-consuming God complex. He wielded a grandiose sense of self-importance, demanded constant admiration, and displayed a chilling lack of empathy. He's exploited the vulnerabilities of his followers with surgical precision using classic cult leader tactics. He claims to communicate directly with God, has declared himself to be God, and positioned himself as the sole authority on salvation from loneliness, promising miraculous cures for cancer, financial freedom, and spiritual enlightenment. He has drained his followers of their money, cut them off from their families, and methodically stripped away their identities. He's broken them down emotionally and psychologically until they have become obedient tools to serve his agenda. He's dictated their diets, controlled their relationships, and embedded himself into every corner of their lives, ensuring no aspect of their autonomy remains intact.
Yep.
For those caught in the relentless grip of his manipulation, the abuse has felt horrifyingly, inexplicably right. Because Jeff has turned up the heat on his control so gradually, so insidiously, that his victims mistook submission for salvation, unwittingly handing over their lives to a man who thrives on their destruction. Twin Flames Universe? More like Twin Shame Universe.
Mic push. Mic smash.
Here's hoping that their destructive blaze fizzles out completely, leaving TFU as nothing more than a pathetic wisp of smoke blowing into oblivion, like the pathetic wisps of Jeff's long hair.
Yeah.
That was so mean, but that's how I feel.
Wasn't that mean?
And that's the case.
That's how mean you get?
I don't like making fun of people physically.
Well, I mean, nobody deserves it. But if anybody deserves it, it's this guy. He could use a little bit of, not humility. I think he needs a little humiliation.
Maybe. He needs to be stopped.
I can't believe this ends in a
There is no ending. It's still happening.
I know. That's bizarre. I kind of want to sign up to see what...
Do you know, it's so funny you say that because I thought about that. I'm like, I'm an investigator. I should just like penetrate and infiltrate.
Undercover.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But maybe I should.
Yeah.
I was just going to say I don't even want to give them the money, but it may go to serve a better cause. But listen, Vice has blown the lid off this. There's documentaries. Vanity Fair did a big piece on this. It's not like it's unknown.
Oh, no. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there's no consequences yet.
Right.
God forbid you actually get sucked in, by the way.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? It
I'm
does
moving to
happen.
Michigan.
And, I want to address one quick thing. Like people who fall into the grip of a cult, they're not, simple-minded, humans with a extremely low IQ or something like that.
It's vulnerability.
They're typically vulnerable individuals who very slowly get indoctrinated, get broken down. They're cut off from their family. So now they have no one else. It is
No one else
not
putting any
their
thought in.
fault.
Yeah.
Right.
No other input.
Exactly. So I just wanted to mention that.
I would say they're exclusively vulnerable, not typically vulnerable. Like
right.
that's a qualification.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
sure.
I think that Jeff and Shalia tap into one of the biggest vulnerabilities that humans can have, which is loneliness.
Yeah, the herd instinct.
Right.
It's not being met.
Right.
They fill that void.
So I want some happiness / inspiration, some real encouraging, non-culty words from your mouth right now. Do you have a Tanks Titty?
I do. So you mentioned the word insidious at the end there, which is a word I've been thinking about a lot. Do you know what it means? Like the actual
Tell me.
seemingly harmless, which means by definition that it actually is harmless.
Because seemingly is the operative word there.
Exactly. So I have been reading a lot of Emmett Fox, and he's all about resisting temptation and like cleaning your mind and making it stay clean. And it's the most important thing you do every day is trim your thoughts, get the weeds out, get them out. They're serving no purpose. It's busy thought. It's that incessant automatic thinking that most of us, I think, have. I definitely have it. It serves no purpose, drives me nowhere, shows me nothing, teaches me nothing. It's just my brain producing stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote down that the most insidious temptation is the temptation of thought, meaning you're tempted to think about something bad because that's familiar to you. And even though watching the news or talking to this person or doing this makes you feel bad, you're going to do that.
Do you play out bad scenarios that never happened?
Not anymore.
I do all the time. I thought it was my body's way of processing the worst case scenario, and then this way I can take steps to avoid it.
Listen, there is a bit of planning in life. Obviously, you do try to avoid danger, but the outlandish, unlikely, borderline impossible scenarios that people put themselves into, I don't do that anymore. And I think I've told you why, but I'll repeat it. There's that phrase from Michelle Montaigne, I believe, who said, my life was plagued with unfortunate events and circumstances, 99% of which never occurred. So your brain really doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality when you're living in that. As you can attest to, I'm sure, sometimes you think about something and your heart's racing, your mouth is dry, and it's like you're actually kind of in it, right? So I was worrying about something one day. My friend Linda from California, I saw her write this one day. She said, worrying is like praying for something bad to happen. Like you focus on it, and then you go towards things that reinforce that. Whether it's spiritual or just scientific, there's this part of the brain called the reticular activating system or reticular activation system.
Ridiculous for you, ridiculously smart.
Which you know, in the sense that, let's say you're looking to buy a new car. You start seeing that car everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like just programming your brain to find what you believe to be true. So if you believe that life is bad and bad things happen, that's what you're going to find. And when
pattern recognition.
When something good happens, you're going to go, nah, that was a fluke. Maybe it wasn't. But to resist the temptation to think negatively about something might be the only resistance that matters, because that leads to everything. Everything.
Shit, I better work on it.
He has this thing called like a 7-day golden diet where like it's a diet of thought. He's big on thinking, obviously, because as a man thinketh, so he is. Which was a line in the Bible somewhere, but it was also a book that I read that I loved. I kind of hated it, to be honest with you, in the beginning, because I was like, I don't have control over my thoughts. And then as I got, older and my brain calmed down a little bit, I was like, I do. I don't have control over the first thought, but I got to step in on that thought and go,
grab the wheel.
That's not true. That's not true. That's absurd that you'd even think that, but I'll allow it. You can't go any further, though. So we got to kill that thought. We got to prune it, pull the weed out.
It's like intentional thinking.
Yes, which is hard.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because you forget to do it. You're so wrapped up in your
Well, I don't want to get into an argument with myself.
Well, you got to fight for your right. You got to fight for your right to be peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah, automatic thinking. It's like your brain pumps out 99 thoughts, and if they were waves, one of them would be surfable. You know?
That is an incredible titty.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you're still here, don't join that cult. That is another Tanks tidbit that I'd like to leave you with. Do not join that cult. I was thinking about it. I'm not going to do it because I may
not make it out.
You may see me using Tank Sinatra as a platform to recruit people.
The day you start selling courses, I will have you.
That's when you know it's over.
Yeah.
That's my last ditch attempt to try and squeeze any money.
Then I know I got to step in.
Out of the account. Yeah, exactly. But no, you will not find me in the Twin Flames universe.
Good.
But I'd like you to join our cult. I really would. It doesn't even need to be big. I think just like me, you, and like, I don't know, a couple of thousand hardcore.
It'll never be
members.
a cult because we will never strip people of their autonomy, finances.
I said club.
Okay. That's
I meant
better.
Club.
Oh, now we're in business.
Cult. Join it.
You're free.
Join it. If you're still here, if you're still listening, you are a real one, and we appreciate you riding this out to the very end with us.
You could be anywhere, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate that.
H to the Izzo, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Bye.